slightly to gently used equipment, and 50% of their inventory is actually new equipment. And it's more than baseball, softball, and golf. They also have equipment for disc golf, fitness, hockey, and more. Plus, they're always buying products. Bring your gear you're done with and get trade money on the spot. Play it against sports at 48th and Vine.
Southeast Community College invites you to check out our spaces ahead of your official campus visit. Our virtual campus tours let you see our campuses and learn more about our programs of study. Then you can schedule your individual visit in person or virtually. Virtual tours of our campuses in Beatrice, Lincoln, or Milford, and our learning centers are online at southeast.edu/visit SCC. SCC, your path to possible.
Wall-to-Wall Wine and Spirits is now open in Lincoln. Shop our expansive collection of wine, beer, spirits, and cigars at 5040 North 27th Street. From top-shelf liquor to crowd-favorite beer, Wall-to-Wall Wine and Spirits has a beverage for every taste and every budget. Plus, join our loyalty program to earn rewards and save on future purchases. Shop Wall-to-Wall Wine and Spirits at 5040 North 27th Street in Lincoln. That's 5040 North 27th Street.
Landmark Implement, your local John Deere dealer, is hosting their annual sprayer clinic at the Buffalo County Fairgrounds in Kearney, Nebraska, January 31st through February 1st. Landmark Sprayer Clinic offers expansive equipment and technology training on John Deere and Hagie sprayers. Learn about the newest technology, machine maintenance, spray tip selection, exact apply sprayers, and more. Free dicamba certification will be available. Join Landmark at their sprayer clinic January 31st and February 1st in Kearney. Find more information at landmarkimp.com/events.
You're spending $300 a month. Binge drinking is the most common form of excessive drinking, which costs the United States more than $191 billion each year. By drinking less, you will save $300 a month. If you or a loved one is looking for help, find a treatment facility near you at findtreatment.gov. For immediate support, call, text, or chat 988.
Brought to you by Nebraska DHHS in partnership with SAMHSA.
Working at Continental in Lincoln isn't a job, it's a career. And right now, they've raised wages again, and they're hiring for production operators at $24.62 per hour, which grows to $28.97 per hour within 3 years. Skilled trade positions now start at $33.36 per hour, with opportunities to make more based on certifications. Continental also has salary jobs available and great benefits, plus medical and prescription costs at very low premiums. Dental, vision, and life insurance are offered at no premium cost to the associates, with increased bonuses and vacation for new hires. To learn more or apply, go to continentaljobs.com with keyword Lincoln. Come work at Continental today.
Coming at you live from the heart of Lincoln, America. This is Old School, sponsored by the Mercado by Certified Piedmontese. Broadcasting veteran Derek Pearson.
When you find something that moves them, that makes them smile, celebrate it. That's your task. That's your superpower.
Nebraska Football Hall of Famer Jay Foreman.
Rifles a pass. It was tipped. It's picked off by Foreman. He's at the 15, 10, 5. He'll score!
On 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Here we are, live in effect at 1040 O Street. This is Old School. Jay Foreman, Austin. DP is still away on business. He'll be back tomorrow. We are brought to you by the Mercado, Certified Piedmontese, Special Ingredients and Butcher Shop, 84th and Havelock, 30th and Yankee Hill, both locations here in Lincoln and one in Omaha. I think it's West Omaha. Obviously, we are above the 50-degree mark today. Beautiful day outside here in Lincoln. Beautiful sightseeing down here on 1040 O Street. We want to appreciate or show some love to Strick. If we're on the block, then the crossover is always fun. Even though my man, we listen. If Jake is Jake, no, Jake's not in there. If he's listening or Nick is listening, I just did a what is that called, Austin? Is that called a jingle? I just did.
Yeah, it was a little. Yeah, it wasn't quite enough singing to be a jingle.
Yeah,
but
I'm not singing.
You did the commercial.
Yeah, I did a commercial for Strick. So any of our ticket listeners out there, it's a great segment that you could spot or a sponsorship for Strick. It's definitely would get a lot of traction because he has a tremendous amount of hate for LeBron and has a tremendous amount of hate for some other people. We call hate. It's an inside joke. But that'd be great to have Strick's takes on some guys in the NBA, strictly for Strick. We could call that too. There you go, man.
Strictly business.
Yeah, strictly business. Strick, man, I'm hooking. If you in your car, Strick, you need to be just, recording me right now. I'm just setting you up with three. No, but anyways, I love Strick, man. He's a good dude and has a great mind for sports and great ideas that are, I would say, they're transferable from the NBA basketball to football. But we're gonna Austin. We got let's see, 20. We got about 5 minutes, and we didn't really get to cover it because we had so much other stuff going on. Late last week, I think maybe even over the weekend. We're going to talk a little bit of Big Ten here, and it's a little bit of Michigan, a little bit of Ohio State, and Sharon Moore got the head coaching job and kept majority of the coaches as of right now. Jim Harbaugh probably made the biggest hire from the University of Michigan in their strength and conditioning coach, and is bringing him out there to Los Angeles to the Chargers. But I want to focus on Michigan. I want to ask you specifically about Sharon Moore, even though probably at this late in the process, it's hard to hire a Brian Kelly or somebody like that this late, because when he went from Notre Dame to LSU, I think it was just right in between the bowl games and stuff like that. So that's kind of like when you'd make the switch. This is kind of when the coaches have to be out recruiting for their present university. So Sharon Moore, and he's been, associated with it knee deep in the allegations. I want to ask you what type of fit, or how well do you think he'll do as a replacement or the next coach after Jim Harbaugh?
It's the sensible hire.
Right.
We talked kind of about the rationale at the end of last week before it was made official. So I totally get why Michigan went the direction that it did. I don't think Michigan is going to be nearly as good next year as it's been the last couple of years, but I don't think that's Sharon Moore's fault necessarily, right? It's a tough situation to be put in, taking over for now a Michigan legend and Jim Harbaugh, who won the first national championship in 25 odd years.
Right.
So you knew the cupboard was always going to be a little bit more bare when he took over, but that's where I think a lot of coaches make their name, right? Because it's hard to inherit a full cupboard. It's so rare that a coach retires at the top of his game and leaves the next guy everything he needs to be successful. We'll learn a lot about Sharon Moore. I think it makes sense. I hope he's not the sole fall guy for everything that seems like it's coming Michigan's way.
That better be in my contract.
Right. I'm sure he was involved somehow, but he doesn't deserve to be like the fall guy for it. I think it speaks very highly of him that Michigan only has 8 dudes in the portal right now.
Right. Yeah, I think he did it. I think for him, it was it's an ideal situation for him in a crappy situation. Now, granted, I can't say it's too crappy because he knew something. He took advantage or had some advantageous part in it, right? I mean, he didn't sit up there and turn a blind eye to it. I mean, no matter what he says. But I think if there ever was a good situation out of this, it's for him. He got 6 games as being a head coach. Maybe I think it was 4 or 5 because they did the round robin thing at the first 3, but he got one at least in the first 3.
And then the last 3.
Okay, yeah. So he got 4 games of being a head coach. And he got a real time in a national championship season with a lot of pressure. How he handles adversity, how he handles the outside noise, how he's able to motivate guys, and what's his relationship like with the guys on the team. So I think for him, that's an ideal situation. You can't tell him that he doesn't have a good resume. He has a harder resume to deal with in those 4 weeks of being a head coach, and then calling the plays in those other 2 weeks at the beginning of the season without Harbaugh, saying yay or nay on what play call it was. So he actually got a lot of opportunities on the job with an immensely talented team. That the biggest pressure for him is not to mess it up and get thrown in the fire 3 hours before the Penn State game, and then have the cojones to call 32 straight run plays. That's an identity check. And so I think he's a great recruiter. Probably recruited a lot of those guys on the roster and the guys that are going on to the NFL. And so I think that is what really helped him keep a lot of the guys that they have. So I think it's going to work out for him. I don't think that Michigan will ever get the respect. I don't think 97 got their 97 team will get the respect that as a national champion, and they're probably fine with that because in Ann Arbor they are, and that's the only thing that they care about. On the flip side, down in Columbus, Ryan Day has done a really good job. You got to think, after the season, you lose, McCord jumps into the portal because supposedly Cam Ward's going there, and I'm sure they fished around with Cam Ward. It was a reactionary movement by him, probably a little bit stupid and impulsive, but he's got to deal with it. and it thought that everybody was going to either turn pro or go to the portal. And Ryan Day had lost the team. He was going to get fired. I forget who they said there was going to end up. There's multiple coaches that possibly going to be there. And then he was going to be a coordinator in the NFL, which wasn't going to happen.
No.
Not going to go make $1 million and he can sit on his butt and make 10.
Right.
But sure, everybody had that, right? And he had lost the team. And slowly but surely, whatever he did, he stayed pat with Devin Brown as the quarterback. Now, granted, they got the number 1 quarterback in the nation, or number 2, whatever by the rankings, fall into their lap, and they hit.
Well, they already have the number 3 guy too, and Aaron Nolan. So we got 2 of them from this class.
Yeah, and and so that's going to be interesting how they handle that. One's going to have the red shirt, but he went out there.
I think they both redshirt this year.
Yeah, if they're smart, you get the 4 games and stuff like that. And so he set himself up for the future.
If I can ask you this quick on those 2 quarterbacks, do you want to be the guy that gets the first 4 games or the last 4 games? Like, when do you want your 4 games? I like the last impression.
Okay. I think he needs to do a good job of spreading them out. They're going to be beating teams good enough they're going to be
really good.
Have good game plans. But you got Brown in there as well. So you got to make sure that these guys have a vision of what they want to do and really want to be at Ohio State and really trust Ryan Day to take them to the next level. Now, granted, they got to win at a big level in order to even, be in the conversation, because if he gets fired, people are going to, cannibalize that roster. They get the running back from Mississippi. They get Caleb Downs, who's probably, I think, was the number 1 guy in the portal.
SEC Freshman of the Year.
Yeah, and he was the best safety. He was the best player. Him and Dallas Turner were the best player on Alabama's defense. As a freshman, he was the real deal. He is a surefire first-round pick, as it looks like right now, at a weak spot that they've had, and it's through injury because Proctor's going to be gone. So it's amazing how Ryan Day has been able to turn it around and change his mentality. I think the reality of the possibility and also losing that game at Michigan and not being on good footing with Gene Smith gone, I think that probably is the wake-up call that he needed. And it's going to be interesting to see how it all gels and they get the guys to be motivated. But, he definitely needs to, get into that 12 and make a deep run and possibly national championship.
For my money, Ohio State's hosting a playoff game at the worst next year. I think they even get the bye. I think they're a top 4 team in college football. The important thing to monitor will be the fan conversations versus the Ross Bjork and Ted Carter conversations. The fans want him gone. Lost to Michigan 3 straight years. And I know the administration, has to be invested in the football program. They want to beat Michigan, be better than them at everything. But I also think Ross Bjork and Ted Carter are of a level enough mind to look at 56-8 and say, we'll give him time. Because I think if the administration starts to turn on Ryan Day, he might leave before they fire him.
Yeah,
if you don't appreciate me, I'm just going to leave. I'm not going to give you the pleasure of firing me. If you're not going to appreciate me, I'm gone.
Yeah.
But the fan conversation we know is heated up. As long as the administration has patience with him, those messages that I'm watching.
And it's a little bit easier now because you got to get into the 12. And as long as you get in and you get on a run, you're fine. And also they could take a page, whether they're reluctant to do it, they could take a page right out of Michigan.
True.
The administration backed Jim Harbaugh 3 or 4 years later on the cusp of almost firing him, pay cut and all that other stuff. They're national champion. They probably don't want to go about it that way, which is sign stealing. But it lets you know patience sometimes with a really good coach that you believe in is a virtue, because there's not a lot of good coaches out there that really want to coach. So anyways, good first segment. Jay Foreman, Austin Orman. Next segment, we're going to jump into a little bit of NFL news. We got Ben Johnson decides to stay home. Aaron Glenn's still taking the interview. Who's going to be next, and when will these last 2 head coaching vacancies get filled? Jay Foreman, Austin Orman, Old School. We'll be right back.
You're listening to Old School with DP and J. Download the mobile app and listen wherever you are on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Load up on meat and more this winter at the Mercado by Certified Piedmontese at 84th and Havelock. This week's special through January 30th is $2 off Steakhouse Burgers and buy one Urban Slicer Pizza Works dough, get an Urban Slicer Pizza Works pizza sauce for free. Don't forget their 2 new locations now open at 30th and Yankee Hill in Lincoln and 168th and Maple in Omaha. Get to the Mercado today for the best meat in town.
Landmark Implement, your local John Deere dealer, is hosting their annual sprayer clinic at the Buffalo County Fairgrounds in Kearney, Nebraska, January 31st through February 1st. Landmark Sprayer Clinic offers expansive equipment and technology training on John Deere and Hagie sprayers. Learn about the newest technology, machine maintenance, spray tip selection, exact apply sprayers, and more. Free dicamba certification will be available. Join Landmark at their sprayer clinic January 31st and February 1st in Kearney. Find more information at landmarkimp.com/events.
Hi everyone, Kendall Warnock, A1 Automotive in downtown Lincoln. The last few years have been wild, but we've been here for you through all the ups and downs, and we'll be here for you when you need us the most, for all your travels and for your day-to-day driving. With winter conditions causing problems all over town, the last thing anyone needs this year is constant car troubles. Let us help you drive in peace and make sure you drive to work and to winter destinations safe. A1 Automotive, 11th and L Street downtown, always honest answers.
People always ask, what are Jake and Sip like when they're off the air? Well, the answer probably won't surprise you.
Hey, Jake, your Honda's looking a little dirty.
Says the guy whose license plate is barely visible.
I mean, do you even care about that thing anymore?
It gets a little uncomfortable. Now, that's when I jump in.
Hey, whoa. Mark, did you get a new car?
Nope, just took my car down to Nebraska Auto Detail. Joe and the staff made the outside and the inside look amazing. Maybe you guys need to go. Okay, wise guy.
Settle down, Jake.
Book your appointment today at nebraskaautodetail.com.
Sandhills Global is hiring. With their fast-paced, growing culture, they have hundreds of new openings in sales, marketing, traveling support, software development, web design, and more. Full-time roles offer a 4.5-day work week, along with flexible internships in most areas. Career and internship opportunities are available at our global headquarters in Lincoln, Nebraska. Find your fit today at www.sandhills.jobs.
Southeast Community College invites you to check out our spaces ahead of your official campus visit. Our virtual campus tours let you see our campuses and learn more about our programs of study. Then you can schedule your individual visit in person or virtually. Virtual tours of our campuses in Beatrice, Lincoln, or Milford, and our learning centers are online at southeast.edu/visit-SCC. SCC, your path to possible.
Hi, Sean Callahan here for Koppel Chevrolet GMC, and we'd like to say thank you for a record-setting 2023. So let's start off 2024 with the bang. They've got huge trade-in bonuses and finance bonusing happening right now on our new inventory at Koppel. Get up to $8,500 off select new models at Koppel. So if you're shopping for a new GM product, go to our website at koppelcars.com. You won't believe the discounts. Make that short money-saving drive down 144th Street. You'll be glad you did. Must have trade and finance with roof credit. Stock number G207684.
Are you in the market for a new garage door or need to repair your old one? It's wintertime, and that means snow, wind, and freezing temperatures. All things that can cause sticky locks and damage to your garage door. If you're experiencing any issues with your commercial or residential garage door during the winter months, call Cameron Hall and his team at Doors Plus. Don't be trapped outside in the cold because of a poorly maintained garage door. Call Doors Plus today at 402-590-5800 or visit them online at doorsplusllc.com. Doors Plus, garage doors and more.
Wall-to-Wall Wine and Spirits is now open in Lincoln. Shop our expansive collection of wine, beer, spirits, and cigars at 5040 North 27th Street. From top-shelf liquor to crowd-favorite beer, Wall-to-Wall Wine and Spirits has a beverage for every taste and every budget. Plus, join our loyalty program to earn rewards and save on future purchases. Shop Wall-to-Wall Wine and Spirits at 5040 North 27th Street in Lincoln. That's 5040 North 27th Street.
Shopping for new flooring is different today. Getting your questions answered, making the right selection, getting the best value, and installed quickly and professionally. Visit ostreetcarpet.com or shop our store. We'll answer all your questions and help you make the right choice. You'll be enjoying your new floor in just days for less than you'd pay elsewhere. Carpet, vinyl, wood, laminate, tile, and area rugs. We've got it all.
O Street Carpet.
1732 O Street. Family owned and operated. Always the best value.
Why are New Year's resolutions always about getting to the gym more or dieting? We fail ourselves before the first month of the year is already over. Why not resolve to eat better, tastier foods in 2024? Look no further than Fuhrer's Cheese Spread. Stop eating your apples, vegetables, crackers, and chips plain. Give them some flavor. Fuhrer's Cheese Spread awakens your taste buds. Now that's how you start a new year. Find your container of Fuhrer's Cheese Spread today at your local grocery store.
At Union Bank, people don't have your money. Your money has people. First home people, investment people, people who answer the phone and your chats, dream car people, dream retirement people, driving your dream car in your dream retirement people, small business people, credit card people, and all the other people you need. At Union Bank, our people help you do more than you dreamed possible. So stop in and say hello. We can't wait to see you. Union Bank and Trust. Member FDIC.
You're spending $300 a month. Binge drinking is the most common form of excessive drinking, which costs the United States more than $191 billion each year. By drinking less, you will save $300 a month. If you or a loved one is looking for help, find a treatment facility near you at findtreatment.gov. For immediate support, call, text, or chat 988.
Brought to you by Nebraska DHHS in partnership with SAMHSA.
Back to Old School with DP and J on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
We're back. Old School. Jay Foreman, Austin Norman on the ones and twos. From the text line, we got a text here. I got to get it. I think it's Joe B. He said, yes, Harbaugh lost, I think, 5 straight. What did he say here? Let me make sure I get it right. He said, didn't Harbaugh lose 5 straight to Ohio State? Yes, he did. And then he went on a run, and then he left out of town. he won a national championship. So you have to show patience. And, if you're an Ohio State fan, you feel like you should never lose to Michigan. If you're Michigan, you look at it like you should never lose to Ohio State. That's what makes them a rivalry, and they hate each other, and it's going to continue along for years to come. And it'll be 10 years from now, there'll be a Michigan team that, runs on a heater, and then Ohio State will have their number, and then, they'll have to make some changes. You got to think John Cooper was a pretty successful coach at Ohio State, had a plethora of first-round picks from Eddie George to Orlando Pace, Hall of Fame dudes, Terry Glenn and all those guys, and Herb Street, I think, played for him. Got fired because he couldn't beat Michigan.
The one.
And that's the way it is. I think sometimes in these games, especially with those two schools, that's more important than maybe winning a national championship.
You look at, pick your favorite rivalry: Nebraska, Oklahoma, Nebraska, Colorado, Duke, Carolina, Louisville, Kentucky. Throw them all out there. We think of these rivalries as both teams are always good all the time, which is when the games are the best.
Yeah.
But Oklahoma wasn't always that good. They had a down period.
Yep.
Colorado sprung up and then went right back down.
Yep.
These rivalries aren't just alternate years. It's not whoever's home you're at. That's part of the fun, right? You have a rival, spring up and go on like a 7-3 run, an 8-2 run over a decade. Then it evens out a little bit as they catch up, and then it swings back the other way, 7-3, 8-2. You have a really good team. You have a team that's clearly worse, which is where you get some of the more memorable upsets.
Yeah,
some of the more memorable blowouts, right? Yeah. That's the fun of these games, is that as much as we like to think they're 50-50 propositions, they're really not. They're just like all sports, and they're cyclical.
Yeah, and just think, for the year that with Auburn, where how many times they've, beaten Alabama when Alabama clearly was the better team, and vice versa over the years, or Florida State, when Florida State had that D line down there, and they were just killing the quarterback. Then, Steve Spurrier and those guys got a little bit tougher, then they end up, winning the championship. And you got to think when Urban Meyer was down there and Tim Tebow, and then Florida State was on a downturn. Miami's been on a downturn, came back, went back down. Now kind of like treading water a little bit. And they're rivals with Florida State and Florida. So, Georgia and Florida, from when Mark Richt was there and you're running up the score, or to obviously with Urban Meyer and those guys, it goes back and forth. And that's what makes college football so great. And that's what makes this, landscape of football so great, because you never want to lose to the team. And, for me, I was fortunate enough never to lose to Colorado or Oklahoma, but, you had some other losses in there, but so I was very fortunate. There was a fortunate time, and sometimes like when Nebraska played Oklahoma when they were really rolling, when you had Roy Williams and all those guys. I mean, it's Rocky. Was it Rocky? What's the line? Bauman or whatever?
Yeah, Rocky Bauman.
Rocky Kalmus or whatever. I mean, they had some dudes, man. You had dudes. You got dudes down there playing, and Adrian Peterson, all that. During that day and time, that they're going to the College Football Hall of Fame. They're some real, really good players.
And then the ones that really, chap your hide are when you have Oklahoma down 20-3 at halftime and you can't finish the job.
Yeah. And those are the ones that makes it burn deeper. Those are the ones. Or like when Nebraska for a few times, like, we don't get a chance to go into overtime, because we run out of bounds or we get a punt block. We talked about it like yesterday. Those are the ones against Iowa that, really, makes it more memorable when you beat them, but then also digs in that hatred for Iowa and Iowa with us too. So it's a year-to-year thing. Nebraska obviously got to catch up to Iowa and Wisconsin, but I think they're on the right path. And then once you get one victory, I don't think people think about the ones that you lost, prior to that. So, I think it's just part of college football. It's great, and we'll see what happens this year with Ohio State and Michigan. But like we said, we're going to talk about a little bit of NFL coaching carousel right now. And obviously the big news coming out of the NFL is Ben Johnson nixed the interview he was been connected to the Commander's job for quite some time. He decided not to even take the interview. So I'm sure Detroit is reworking on a contract for him. But I think also for him, even though people would say they thought he was the number one candidate, he wasn't the surefire hire. And I think that's what probably would turn me off if I was him. Like, I don't need to interview for this job if you waited this long. You should know if I'm your guy or not.
Especially if they're flying your defensive coordinator counterpart down basically on the same plane to interview for the same job.
Yeah, it's kind of cheesy. Yeah. And well, Aaron Glenn's getting on that plane, and hopefully it goes well with him. I think he's definitely deserves to be a head coach, and they view him as solid. But Ben Johnson, he's interviewed at Atlanta, Carolina, Chargers. So I'm sure at some point in time with him, he's probably tired of it, and it really is the juice worth the squeeze. He probably figures in the near future he'll get a job. But I think the fact that Ben Johnson didn't get the job, and I don't think Aaron Glenn will get it this cycle, then that brings back Mike Vrabel and the possibility of Bill Belichick. Just 3 or 4 days ago, I was like, oh, it's all coordinators. Now it brings them back in effect. Dan Quinn he interviewed, I think, for the Commander's job, and he interviewed for the Seattle job, I think a few days before. So eventually somebody's got to go coach these teams. The sooner the better. But it'll be interesting to see what it does, because it affects how, I guess, like a DP says, how business is done. But then also it affects how people draft. Because if Bill Belichick comes into the NFC East, it changes the dynamics of it. If Vrabel goes up to Seattle, it changes the dynamic of it. It changes the way the other teams are going to draft and do free agency and stuff like that. So it's not just who you get as a head coach. It's the personality and assumptive success that's coming with them, and the standard that these guys have already shown that they're going to get out of their players. And so, it does, send some shockwaves if you do decide to hire a, well-known coach, or you decide to go the, coordinator route.
I like that for Detroit, because I was giving Nick some crap that he deserved, right? Nick is, he deserved it. But I was telling him the Lions next year were going to be the Eagles this year.
Yeah.
Plenty talented, but you lose both your coordinators. I think Dan Campbell's a better coach than Nick Sirianni, but you could see the dysfunction in the Eagles. We talked about it multiple times on Old School. That's where I thought the Lions were headed. If they're able to bring that whole crew back, I know it's not the same team. I know we had that speech where you might never get back to the playoffs, and that makes sense to me. But to retain that continuity at the top,
especially in offense,
yes, I think that would be huge for Detroit and their chances to repeat as NFC North champions, and to learn from the mistakes that cost him the game. Could Johnson have called one play better? Could Glenn have thrown one more changeup defensively? Those are things you can learn from and implement the next year if you're on the same staff together. Hard to do when you're at a new place.
Yeah, and it's good because you get the continuity, and then you can kind of do a little bit more in-depth self-scouting, and you don't have to start over, because Aaron Glenn could leave his playbook at Detroit, or and I could be promoted from within, say I'm linebacker coach or whatever. It's still not Aaron Glenn calling the plays. Right. It's still not the rapport. You'll be going through the whole offseason and parts of training camp of trying to earn the players' respect, but not only by how you carry yourself, but the defense that you call, because you had success with another guy, and he's on to, in this case, it would be on to, head coaching opportunity. So the fact that they got one of them back, and if they could get both of them back, it bodes well better for Detroit. Both of them should get a pay bump. And as the pressure goes up, and that's where, how much you pay him goes up. But I think for Detroit and where they're at as a franchise, right? People aren't giving them the respect. And then everybody's thinking, well, Jordan Love and the Packers are going to be it. Well, to keep that stronghold on that NFC Central, you need your offensive coordinator back, because I think, in my opinion, Detroit's offense is the best offense in the league, in my opinion, because they've been the most consistent. They can be explosive. They can be physical. You got 2 running backs that had over 1,000 yards from the scrimmage yards.
Mm-hmm.
You got 2,000-yard receivers, and you got a quarterback that can either drop back and run and do it, or play action you to death. Now, I do think where they did make a mistake against the 49ers and Dan Campbell, there was a Dan Campbell thing where they decided to run it and had to burn a timeout. At the end of the day, you're down by 10. So if you throw it, kick it on 4th down, you still got to score. And you still would have got it back in plenty of time with 3 timeouts. So I think that's the bigger thing than versus, whether you should kick a field goal or not. I think that clock management is something that Dan Campbell learned and knows that under pressure on the road, you got to coach a little bit different. And that's the biggest thing that I think they're going to take in the offseason.
Dan Campbell gets the flack for that play call.
Mm-hmm.
Was that a him thing or is that a Ben Johnson thing?
Well, he said he did it. I'll take him as word that he did it. But I also think that my man Williams whiffed on the block. That's the dude. So that's the guy that gets it. And so I think that's what's hard is like when you have a play called, they had good push up in the middle. You can't even cut it back because the guy blitzed in there. They're going to sell out the run. You want to, tighten down those splits and stuff like that. So it's hard for me to, put a blame on anybody because the execution, it was not like it was a good, well-blocked play. And, they just got beat. They just let a guy have what I call is direct access back there. So I'm sure Dan Campbell will fall on the sword for his offensive coordinator, probably. And that's the type of duty he is. And that's why you probably see him coming back. But ultimately, everybody could probably do a better job of executing that play or not call that run play based on how much you're down on the road. Either way, you're going to have to kick a field goal.
Right.
So, anyways, good segment. Jay Foreman, Austin Norman. We're going to take a quick break back and talk a little bit about big picture about Husker basketball. And then we're at the top of the 5 o'clock hour. Mel Kiper came out with his mock draft. The reason why I want to go over it now is because we have a couple players out at the East-West Shrine game, which I saw Coach Rule, which obviously Omar Brown and the long snapper, and then the Senior Bowl is coming up. So it's obviously a goal for players to go to the next level. You want to get in one of those 2 games or both of them to reach those goals. But let's see who's going to get drafted next. Jay Foreman, Austin Norman. We'll be right back.
Watch Old School live on Facebook, YouTube, or Twitch. Old School with DP and J on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Joining a gym fashionably late this year? You're right on time. At Planet Fitness, we got you. Because now through January 31st, you can still join for just 24 cents down, $10 a month. Cancel anytime. And to make it even better, we have free fitness training, equipment for every workout, plus a free in-app crowd meter, and most clubs open 24 hours. Feel good about being fashionably late. It's the last chance to join Planet Fitness for just 24 cents down, $10 a month. Cancel anytime. Hurry. Deal ends January 31st. See Home Club for details.
Are you in the market for a new garage door or need to repair your old one? It's wintertime, and that means snow, wind, and freezing temperatures. All things that can cause sticky locks and damage to your garage door. If you're experiencing any issues with your commercial or residential garage door during the winter months, call Cameron Hall and his team at Doors Plus. Don't be trapped outside in the cold because of a poorly maintained garage door. Call Doors Plus today at 402-590-5800 or visit them online at DoorsPlusLLC.com. Doors Plus, garage doors and more.
Shopping for new flooring is different today. Getting your questions answered, making the right selection, getting the best value, and installed quickly and professionally. Visit ostreetcarpet.com or shop our store. We'll answer all your questions and help you make the right choice. You'll be enjoying your new floor in just days for less than you'd pay elsewhere. Carpet, vinyl, wood, laminate, tile, and area rugs. We've got it all.
O Street Carpet.
1732 O Street. Family owned and operated. Always the best value.
Problem gambling is not just a financial issue. It's an emotional problem with financial consequences. If your loved one is struggling with addiction, contact Choices Treatment Center's 24-hour helpline at 402-476-2300. That's 402-476-2300.
Hi, Sean Callahan here for Copple Chevrolet GMC, and we'd like to say thank you for a record-setting 2023. So let's start off 2024 with the bang. They've got huge trade-in bonuses and finance bonusing happening right now on our new inventory at Copple. Get up to $8,500 off select new models at Copple. So if you're shopping for a new GM product, go to our website at copplecars.com. You won't believe the discounts. Make that short money-saving drive down 144th Street. You'll be glad you did. Must have trade and finance with roof credit. Stock number G207684.
You're spending $300 a month. Binge drinking is the most common form of excessive drinking, which costs the United States more than $191 billion each year. By drinking less, you will save $300 a month. If you or a loved one is looking for help, find a treatment facility near you at findtreatment.gov. For immediate support, call, text, or chat 988.
Brought to you by Nebraska DHHS in partnership with SAMHSA.
Load up on meat and more this winter at the Mercado by Certified Piedmontese at 84th and Havelock. This week's special through January 30th is $2 off steakhouse burgers and buy one Urban Slicer Pizza Works dough, get an Urban Slicer Pizza Works pizza sauce for free. Don't forget their two new locations now open at 30th and Yankee Hill in Lincoln and 168th and Maple in Omaha. Get to the Mercado today for the best meat in town.
Landmark Implement, your local John Deere dealer, is hosting their annual sprayer clinic at the Buffalo County Fairgrounds in Kearney, Nebraska, January 31st through February 1st. Landmark Sprayer Clinic offers expansive equipment and technology training on John Deere and Hagie sprayers. Learn about the newest technology, machine maintenance, spray tip selection, exact apply sprayers, and more. Free dicamba certification will be available. Join Landmark at their sprayer clinic January 31st and February 1st in Kearney. Find more information at landmarkimp.com/events.
Husker fans, your Nebraska wrestling team is back at the Bob Devaney Sports Center for a Big Ten matchup on Sunday, February 4th against Illinois. The duel begins at 2 p.m., and the first 350 fans will receive a Nebraska wrestling pennant. For more information or to secure your tickets, visit huskers.com/tickets or call 402-472-3111. Again, that's huskers.com/tickets or call 402-472-3111.
Working at Continental in Lincoln isn't a job, it's a career. And right now, they've raised wages again, and they're hiring for production operators at $24.62 per hour, which grows to $28.97 per hour within 3 years. Skilled trade positions now start at $33.36 per hour, with opportunities to make more based on certifications. Continental also has salary jobs available and great benefits, plus medical and prescription costs at very low premiums. Dental, vision, and life insurance are offered at no premium cost to the associates, with increased bonuses and vacation for new hires. To learn more or apply, go to continentaljobs.com with keyword Lincoln. Come work at Continental today.
Sandhills Global is hiring. With their fast-paced, growing culture, they have hundreds of new openings in sales, marketing, traveling support, software development, web design, and more. Full-time roles offer a 4.5-day work week, along with flexible internships in most areas. Career and internship opportunities are available at our global headquarters in Lincoln, Nebraska. Find your fit today at www.sandhills.jobs.
Old School with DP and J.
DPGM. What are you going to do to Caleb Williams? What are you going to do? You going to draft him?
No.
You're not going to draft him?
No, I don't. Here's my thing. I don't want anybody to know. I'm not going to bring poison into my program because that's what it would be. He's letting you know he's poison. He's venom. Why would I put poison in my own soup?
Maybe you think you're a mongoose. You can't.
I have zero.
You're a mongoose. You can take the cobra venom.
On 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. Back to Old School with DP and J on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Quick segment here before we get to the top of the hour. NFL mock draft, 5 o'clock. See who's coming and going. It's real interesting, Austin. I always think that if a lot of these guys, it's always interesting to see the first one versus the last, and even accuracy between one. And sometimes they get to 6 of them. So a lot can change. It's definitely a stressful but a joyful process, because if you're in the conversation, that means you did something right. If you're not in the conversation as much as you like, that means you got to go do something even better. So Hopefully the Huskers, obviously get some more players drafted and get opportunities like they've had in the past, but up to the magnitude and standard that we've had before. One thing I want to ask you, Austin, though, as we're pre-Super Bowl, going into it, how much more trust do you have in Andy Reid versus Kyle Shanahan?
I trust them both equally on a schematic level. I think they're two of the best play designers and callers in the game.
Mm.
I like the talent Shanahan has at the skill positions more than Kansas City's right now.
Right.
I think Andy Reid gets a little cute because the Chiefs still aren't great in short yardage situations. I think he'll still mess around a little bit there and he'll get the Chiefs in trouble. But plain and simple, Andy Reid's won the big one a couple times now.
Oh, yeah.
So it's hard for me to bet against the Chiefs in these situations. Like, Shanahan's a darn good coach.
Yeah, he's a great coach.
But San Francisco still hasn't won a championship in my lifetime.
Right.
Not for lack of opportunities either.
Yeah.
I don't blame them for last year with all the quarterback injuries. They were piecing it together.
Yeah, that was and Brock Purdy got hurt.
Right. I don't necessarily put the 2020 game, the Super Bowl, on Shanahan necessarily. I don't think he did anything so egregious to lose it.
It was the receiver that dropped that bomb.
Yeah.
It was
Garoppolo.
It was right through his hands. Yeah, game.
So that's not on Shanahan, but he does right now have the reputation as can't win the big one because he hasn't.
Yeah, and that's just part of being a head coach. It's just like Dan Campbell said, look, the criticism that he got for the field goal or non-field goal attempts and obviously the fourth down, he probably watched the game and probably, had some talks with himself. So that's part of the gig. I want to ask you real quick. There's a guy named Nick Wright that does first things first. And boy, if there's ever a
big Kansas City guy,
boy, and he don't hide it either.
No.
He's already anointed Patrick Mahomes as the greatest of all time. I think he's got a long way to go to do it, but he's going to be in the conversation if things keep going, and he probably will be it. How close are you to going towards Patrick Mahomes being the GOAT? We just had Tom Brady.
We did just have Tom Brady. That's tricky because I think while we're still here doing sports talk radio, it's going to be Tom Brady. But the kids that are probably the generation after me, that grow up, get their takes on the radio and on social media over the next 5 years. I think those are going to be the ones that really push the conversation shifting into Mahomes territory.
Yeah.
I'm going to use a baseball analogy or comparison here. I'm a huge Mike Trout guy.
Okay.
I thought he was the greatest baseball player ever to live.
Yeah.
Like, I know his accomplishments aren't quite there, but you look at the physical ability.
And the way he started, boy.
He was an
unstoppable force.
Right. He's not going to be the greatest baseball player of all time. He's been too hurt. He doesn't have the postseason success to show for it, which is hard to say in baseball. It's not fully his fault.
Right.
Because there's no salary cap in baseball. You can't say, his contract. He plays in a big market. He's just been too injured. Patrick Mahomes is on pace to be the greatest quarterback of all time. He plays in an era that's beneficial, that's spread out. He's taking full advantage of the rules right now to put up the numbers that he's had. He's proving he can win in multiple ways.
Yeah.
I don't think he has to match Brady in terms of Super Bowls to be the greatest of all time, because I can look at the physical traits and say he was maybe better built for the position physically. Brady dominated mentally. Mahomes is doing some similar stuff, not to the same. So for my money, I'm probably taking Patrick Mahomes over Tom Brady just looking at the two of them.
Right.
But I'm not crazy enough to say I'm taking Patrick Mahomes' resume over Tom Brady's right now.
Yeah. I think it's going to get there, and it's going to ramp up once he gets Super Bowl number 3. But my man Brady's got 7 of them bad boys. It's going to take a while.
One of them with the Bucks.
Right. And that counts as 2. It's like LeBron going to 1-1 in Cleveland. That counts as 2. Anyways, good first hour, quick first hour. At the top of the 5 o'clock hour, we're going to look at this draft. I haven't, really dived into it. They got some good players out there. I'm going to pick a couple guys, Austin, that I think they're going to make the biggest impact, according to Mel Kiper. And there's plenty of guys out there, so that we'll do this periodically as things go on. But Jay Foreman, Austin Orman, Old School. We'll be right back.
You're listening to Old School with DP and J. Download the mobile app and listen wherever you are on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Garage doors can be expensive. Are you keeping yours in the best condition possible? This is Cameron Hall with Doors Plus. Doors Plus is a locally owned business that prides itself on the fast, reliable, and friendly service. Doors Plus offers flexible scheduling so you can book an appointment that fits your busy day. My team and I will come out to your property, both commercial and residential, and provide you with the necessary information you need to make sure your garage door is in working and smooth condition. Give Doors Plus a call today at 402-590-5800 to book an appointment and learn more about our preventative maintenance plans. Doors Plus, garage doors, and more.
Are you working in or looking to get into the electrical construction industry? The electrical workers of Local Union 265 are now hiring licensed journeymen and apprentices and are offering great pay and benefits. Call Mike at 402-875-1034 to apply. Start your electrical career today.
Problem gambling is not just a financial issue. It's an emotional problem with financial consequences. If your loved one is struggling with addiction, contact Choices Treatment Center's 24-hour helpline at 402-476-2300. That's 402-476-2300.
You're spending $300 a month. Binge drinking is the most common form of excessive drinking, which costs the United States more than $191 billion each year. By drinking less, you will save $300 a month. If you or a loved one is looking for help, find a treatment facility near you at findtreatment.gov. For immediate support, call, text, or chat 988.
Brought to you by Nebraska DHHS in partnership with SAMHSA.
At Union Bank, people don't have your money. Your money has people. First home people, investment people, people who answer the phone and your chats, dream car people, dream retirement people, driving your dream car in your dream retirement people, small business people, credit card people, and all the other people you need. At Union Bank, our people help you do more than you dreamed possible. So stop in and say hello. We can't wait to see you. Union Bank and Trust. Member FDIC.
This is Lincoln's home for sports talk on the FM dial. Also online at theticketfm.com.
On the internet.
KNTK FM Firth, 93.7 The Ticket.
Letting your children know you believe in them will go a long way toward making their dreams a reality. I'm Jenny Benson, president of the Nebraska State Education Association. It's important to celebrate learning. Focus on the positives, reinforce good effort and determination. Children need your encouragement and support. Our public schools want every student to succeed.
Sponsored by the Nebraska State Education Association, aired by the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
Load up on meat and more this winter at the Mercado by Certified Piedmontese at 84th and Havelock. This week's special through January 30th is $2 off steakhouse burgers and buy one Urban Slicer Pizza Works dough. Get an Urban Slicer Pizza Works pizza sauce for free. Don't forget their two new locations now open at 30th and Yankee Hill in Lincoln and 168th and Maple in Omaha. Get to the Mercado today for the best meat in town.
Hi everyone, Kendall Warnock, A1 Automotive in downtown Lincoln. The last few years have been wild, but we've been here for you through all the ups and downs, and we'll be here for you when you need us the most, for all your travels and for your day-to-day driving. With winter conditions causing problems all over town, the last thing anyone needs this year is constant car troubles. Let us help you drive in peace and make sure you drive to work and to winter destinations safe. A1 Automotive, 11th and L Street downtown, always honest answers.
93.7 The Ticket, Fox, KFXL weather. Brought to you by Bryant Air Conditioning, Heating, Electrical, and Plumbing.
The Lincoln forecast for today, expecting mainly sunny skies with a light northwest breeze. It will be mild. We'll see a high of around 48. Tonight, mainly cloudy skies expected with a low around 28. And tomorrow, more sunshine does return. Even warmer temperatures tomorrow. We'll see a high around 59. I'm meteorologist Kyle Tucker for 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Hi, Sean Callahan here for Koppel Chevrolet GMC. We'd like to say thank you for a record-setting 2023. So let's start off 2024 with the bang. They've got huge trade-in bonuses and finance bonusing happening right now on our new inventory at Koppel. Get up to $8,500 off select new models at Koppel. So if you're shopping for a new GM product, go to our website at koppelcars.com. You won't believe the discounts. Make that short money-saving drive down 144th Street. You'll be glad you did. Must have trade and finance with roof credit. Stock number G2076. 844.
Coming at you live from the heart of Lincoln, America. This is Old School, sponsored by the Mercado by Certified Piedmontese. Broadcasting veteran Derek Pearson.
When you find something that moves them, that makes them smile, celebrate it. That's your task. That's your superpower.
Nebraska Football Hall of Famer Jay Foreman.
Rifles a pass. It was tipped. It's picked off by Foreman. He's at the 15, 10, 5. He'll score!
On 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Old School, Jay Foreman, Austin Norman. DP is traveling. I think he's on his way back. We are sponsored and brought to you by the Mercado, Certified Piedmontese, Special Ingredients and Butcher Shop. 84th and Havelock, 30th and Yankee Hill. We are live in effect at 1040 O Street. It's still a little bit more sunlight than we had a couple weeks ago. Plus, there's the snow is almost gone. So people are a lot more cheerful and happy. But with that being said, in this hour, we're going to going to dive into this Mel Kiper, his first mock draft. He'll have this is 1.0. I think he ends up at 4.0 before he does 4 of them differently. And then in the second segment, we're going to talk about the NBA. You did a little bit in the crossover strict. Austin, I'm going to pick your brain on, what the Lakers should do. Is Golden State officially done? And how do you go about kind of taking your favorite animal out to pasture with some of these teams and players? So anyways, we'll go I'll tell you the first 4 picks, and we'll kind of get through 32, rather quickly. One thing that hadn't changed is Chicago Bears drafting Caleb Williams. In my opinion, I feel like they got a dude in Justin Fields. I think if he gets in the right spot, Atlanta, or somewhere like that.
Pittsburgh with Arthur Smith. Even if somehow he ends up at Minnesota with Justin, hey, he's going to do some work. Mm-hmm. And so this might be a blessing in disguise for him. Caleb Williams says he doesn't want to go to Chicago. Well, Mr. Williams, looks like you're on the way, my brother. Pretty safe pick. He's probably going to go number 1, right? Enjoy that win.
Yeah.
Enjoy that crappy turf.
Yeah, we're going to see how that little body of yours. Here's where it gets crazy. Because Drake May had been the number 2 guy, possibly number 1 all season. And I'll tell you about the Drake May story, right? He went to high school. Yeah, he went to high school, the same high school as my oldest daughter. But the Commanders right now, right, go a little bit outside. They get the Heisman winner. It says, according to Mel Kiper, Jaden Daniels. What do you think about that?
Is that an Eric Bieniemy pick, or is that a next head coach pick?
We don't know, because they ain't going to have either.
Because that doesn't strike me as a Bill Belichick pick. It really does.
Well, Bill Belichick said he wanted. He wished he had Cam Newton. And, Robert Kraft was like, "Nah, man, those outfits."
Well, you got Cam Newton, just the wrong time for Cam.
You didn't get Cam. You got Cameron Newton.
Cameron.
Yeah, Cameron. You're full. Yeah, you got your full name, right? You you got
Cleveland. The government name.
Yeah, because in Cleveland, you didn't get Shaq. You got Shaquille.
Right.
What do you think about Jaden Daniels going number 2?
He had the year for it.
Yeah, he did.
He took the leap. It seems like. I think there are a lot of people who are gonna stay off and say, "Oh, he's a 1-year wonder," kind of the magical season. I think he put it all together. Yeah. I think you saw the processing. I think you saw not just the big arm, but the touch. You saw the ability to extend plays. Yeah. Obviously, there will be a learning curve from college to pros.
Like for everybody.
Yeah, but you can see real translatable skills.
Yeah, and I think he played decent last year too. He played good last year, and so and I saw a big jump in his productivity. And he when the seasons didn't start out the way that they'd hoped down there in Baton Rouge, he turned his game up to another level, and obviously ended up winning the Heisman. I think the way he can actually throw the ball, and then obviously with his legs, he's dangerous. We just have got to get this man to understand you cannot take those type of hits anymore. No. I mean, for everybody out there in Texas land, if you just go on TikTok and just Google Jaden Daniels smoked compilation, my man gets destroyed. But
he's not big.
He takes a lick and keep on ticking. So he's like a Timex watch or whatever it was, the commercial. Number 3, New England, if everything stays pat, no trades or anything like that, they have New England drafting Drake May, which is weird because Drake May's a heck of an athlete. He can do everything that these guys can do. He's probably, I would say, the safer pick right now. Probably Caleb Williams is probably, I think, legitimately going to come in and potentially change the franchise. I don't know how much when you don't have any athletes, but I think Drake May is probably a more safer prospect than Jaden Daniels, ready to play week 1. Goes to New England, which is weird. That's probably a pick. You just drafted Mac Jones. What does that mean for Mac Jones? Does he have a redshirt year? Do they trade Mac Jones?
Mm-hmm.
What do you think about that?
I think you left out the most important piece of information. He went to North Carolina. So don't draft him. He's a risk. He's Mitchell Trubisky 2.0.
Oh,
no, I'm kidding. No, Drake May's really good. He's going to be a
legit,
good player.
Yeah.
I think I feel good if I'm the Patriots and I can keep Mac Jones around as a backup. I don't know if Mac Jones is anything more than a spot starter moving forward. Maybe some team thinks that they can rediscover his rookie year magic. I think Mac Jones is going to be in the NFL for 10, 12 years, but have that many starts.
Yeah, as long as he gets to keep his mouth shut.
Right.
Yeah, and stop. And he's
McCorkle.
McCorkle needs to stop McCorkling because he definitely acts like a McCorkle.
Stick a McCork in it.
Yeah, and the two in the next two is Arizona Cardinals and the Chargers, which is interesting because now they have Harbaugh, who I think these next two players are the two best players in the draft. Cardinals drafting Marvin Harrison Jr., probably the best prospect in the draft, right? I mean, pretty much Pro Bowler right from the get-go. Most polished, 6'4". I mean, he can do it all. Now you just got to make sure he's motivated. Now you got Pocket Hercules throwing it to him. So Pocket Hercules, you're welcome. And then Brock Bowers is probably, to me, the surefire best prospect. I do think Caleb Williams has some holes in his game. I really do. I think he has small hands and he turns the ball over too much in the pocket. That's a quality that you can work on. But you're talking about day one starters, day one unstoppable force. If you thought Laporta did some stuff up there in Detroit, wait till this dude with Jim Harbaugh, who likes to feature the tight end, along with Murray that they have there. I think it's San Diego. I think it's not Murray.
Gerald Everett,
excuse me, because Murray's number 9 on defense, the linebacker. He's going to do work with Justin Herbert. He's going to do work. Same with Marvin Harrison, even though they have Pocket Hercules, I think he's going to do well too.
Let me ask you this on the Cardinals first. What kind of receiver do they need to pair with Marvin Harrison Jr.? Do they need a deep guy? Do they need an underneath guy?
That is a great question. Austin Orman. Man, this is why you my dude. You know what they need? They need the exact opposite. They need a water bug. They do have it.
Is that Rondale?
They have it already. They have him. And then maybe you want to get what you want is like I call it the stair step receiver room.
Okay.
You got the giant, it's 6'4". You got Moore, probably the Smurf, and they need somebody in between, a legit guy. And it doesn't have to be a high price guy. Somebody that might be on their roster. You need a guy that kind of your possession receiver. Rondale Moore can get in there, get in space against a linebacker like me, and take it to the house. And Marvin Harrison can do it all. He can line up in the slot. He can line up at the X. He can line up the Y. Yeah, he can line up the Z. He can go in motion. He can run motion He can run motion. He can do the orbit. He can do whatever you want. So that's why what you want to pair to him, because you want those guys to be able to feed off of him and him feed off of them as well. So what they do around him, ideally they've made a commitment to Kyler Murray. They feel that he showed some growth, which he did. I'm giving him credit. He showed some growth. Now you just hope he has another offseason where he's able to mature and continue to get better.
Then with Bowers, I think he's a matchup nightmare. I think he would step in and within 3 years be the best tight end in that division after Kelsey's gone. But does Harbaugh go offensive line? He loves to build through the lines. I know Bowers can play in line. Like, he might be too good to pass up.
Yeah.
But they might also go tackle them.
Yeah. And that's where you have to do a good job scouting. And they drafted the tackle a couple years ago from Northwestern.
Skronsky.
Yeah. No, not him.
Slater.
Slater, who is a dude. So you already have your left tackle there.
Right.
Now Tompkins, the right tackle, 79, struggles a little bit, but you can definitely find some veterans or something like that to come in. You draft the offensive lineman. You pass up Brock Bowers if you have a surefire Orlando Pace. I don't think anybody's in the draft like that because they don't block that way anymore. Sure. You have to actually get in there and have a good offensive line coach to get them better, in the next level. And it's funny that you mentioned offensive line. The next two picks, the Giants, they have the Giants taking Malik Neighbors, They're trying to get Danny Dimes some help, legit help, right? Which they should, because you invested $40 million a year, $45 million a year into him, and you're slow playing Saquon Barkley, who was your only, heartbeat and a pulse in offense. So you better get this dude here, who again with Jaden Daniels, and also coming in with Danny Dimes or Jaden Daniels and Neighbors, that he helped him win a national championship, and he had a 1,600-yard season pretty much. It was 1,569, but we're rounding up 90 catch season. That's a volume guy that can actually run after the catch. That's what you need with Danny Dimes. So you assume that he's going to be a good enough route runner, but at the end of the day, you got to wait for that to happen. Now, this is where you talk about offensive line. They have Joe Alt from Notre Dame. Now, he is a physical dude.
Mm-hmm.
And so his dad played, in the NFL for a long time for the Kansas City Chiefs. And, he's actually his dad's from Minnesota. But Joe Alt, they got Skoronski last year,
mm-hmm.
who was a dude. You get Joe Alt. That's where you see Tennessee trying to come back, if you're Brian Callahan, to understanding being physical on the lines can lessen that talent gap. And the ripe's for the picking. Yes, Houston has the quarterback, but they don't have the depth in the offense and defensive line yet. If you do that, that eliminates C.J. Stroud because it keeps him on the bench. Do you really fear Jacksonville? Not so much. Let's see what Indianapolis does, right? I think Richardson will be good, but he's a rookie again, right?
And they got Pro Bowler Gardner Minshew on the roster.
You said it, I didn't. Yeah, that's your boy. But so I think this is a good pick for Tennessee. I would like to see them go with Neighbors because they need a legit receiver out there.
Because Traylon Burks hasn't been that
Traylon
guy
Burks
yet.
hasn't did it. And
Westbrook Akeen,
no. And they don't really have a young, explosive guy. So you got to keep feeding it in there. But I do think also you can get a number one receiver in the second or third round. So you don't have to jump out there too quick if you're not a 100% sure that this guy's going to come in and be close to DeAndre Hopkins.
Which is where I think Brian Callahan's experience in Cincinnati is going to be interesting to watch. Because you have the three-headed monster of,
one of them's
Chase
gonna be
Higgins and
Boyd.
But even when Cincy made it to the Super Bowl, Burrow was getting hit.
Yeah.
That offensive line let him down.
That lost us in the Super Bowl.
You remember the conversation for the Bengals was, did they take Jamar Chase or did they take Penei Sewell?
Right.
Took Jamar Chase, ended up going to the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
But I think Brian Callahan, what he thought about those decisions in Cincinnati will come into play with the seventh pick.
Yeah, and also he's in a little bit better position. If they have salary cap room, Higgins or Boyd, who could be a number one receiver immediately and knows his system, is going to be free agent this year. So you're going to be able to get a guy that he knows him, and that's where the continuity comes from Cincinnati to Nashville. Atlanta, which is good. Raheem Morris, obviously defensive-minded coach, and they needed a little bit more pass rush. They addressed it with Dallas Turner, with Calais Campbell, who's still playing at a high level. It seems like at 50 years old, who has one of the coolest voices of all time. He's like deep, and he's like Barry White with a scratchy voice, I think that dude with Calais Campbell, Bud Dupree, who had a really good season this year for him, because they don't play a lot. They've never played a lot of games with the leads that, pin their ears back and go get the quarterback. Dallas Turner is going to come in and be a factor right from the get-go, kind of like a Will Anderson Jr., kind of like when Von Miller came in. That's how athletic he is, and he can cover, but he can really, he's a natural pass rusher and plays with good physicalness and has a plethora of moves, and he's next level as far as athletic ability. That's a perfect match for him. And also, I think it's really good because if he goes in that locker room, he has two trustworthy veterans that can show him how to be a pro versus going there and you're in the city of Atlanta and there's too much to do and you lose focus. And then your career kind of, is affected. So now here's where it gets interesting. I don't know if you have this pulled up.
I do.
Your Chicago Bears, not yours, but the Chicago Bears said, listen, we're going to do right by Williams that we didn't do right by Fields. So we got these draft picks, right? Via Houston last year, moving up. So not only we're going to take Caleb Williams number one, we're going to do you a solid. We're going to pick you a number one receiver. Quite frankly, probably the best receiver this year in college football from game 1 to game 18, 19, or whatever they played. And they're going to get Rome Aduze from Washington State, a straight dog, right? 6'2",
clutch as hell.
Yeah, and can run after the catch, beat you over the top, physical, can run the route tree, play with two other NFL quarter or receivers and establish himself as that dude. If they do that, it might be the first time the Bears actually did right by their QB in their whole franchise history. So if they get him, and plus DJ Moore is legit, so you could either be 1B or 1A, and he could be the opposite. So then we go to the Jets. We're going to do the Vikings and the Broncos, and I think these 3 picks are right on point. Jets, you got to get the big offensive tackle, Olu Fashanu from Penn State, who I think fits right in there because Mekhi Becton probably will hit free agency, and he's just injury prone. I think Becton is a good player, but it's always like he's having a great season, first 2 games, then he has some freak injury, done for the season. Right. So you got to replace that with a younger guy. I think that fits it. And then over here with the Vikings, which is weird, right? Because you got to think, Kirk Cousins, is he going to come back? So you don't have a legit, unless you re-up with Kirk Cousins, you don't have a franchise quarterback. You're probably not going to pick running back. They do need to get a running back. But I think with the Vikings, they still need to get better across their lines. That's my opinion. And particularly the defensive line, or Harrison Smith, who I think is in the last year of his contract. I don't know if he's going to be back. Should be a Hall of Famer. Do you do like a parachute package, golden package with him, a 3-year deal, but it's mainly just a 1 year, probably a 2 if he really plays well? Or do you try to go young and play safety? I think you address up the middle first. That means defensive line, if there's a first round linebacker, which inside line I don't think there is, or a safety that's the difference maker. They've kept drafting corners, it seems like, year in and year out. Danielle Hunter is a free agent who had a great year, came back. Hopefully you bring him back. That's your pass rush guy. I'm not a big believer for the Vikings to draft a corner. It's not. I just don't. If you like a quarterback that you really think can be the next Kirk Cousins, and after a year, I think you do a 1 or 2 year with Kirk Cousins and move up and get him, because that'll set you up for the future versus another cornerback, whether it's Dantzler or all these other guys. What's the dude from Central Florida? You picked him, and he only lasted like a year or 2. Mike McKenzie or Mike Hughes.
Yeah.
You already showed draft capital at this position. Your franchise has not worked out well. Don't do it again.
Not mid-first round corners. If you have like a Jalen Ramsey at the very top of the draft, you go get him. But mid-first, second round guys, like, you can get the same thing on day 2, maybe even day 3, right? A great elite lockdown cover corner is absolutely worth a day 1 pick, but just a guy, you can get that later on, which is where I think you're onto something with offensive line. Wasn't nearly as good as it needed to be. Old defensive line too, that's aging. And then at quarterback, the options that are left right now really are Penix and Bo Nix.
Right.
And are either one of those 2 guys worth number 11 overall? I'm not sure.
No,
can you get more draft capital trade down to get those guys?
You just took the words right out of my mouth. You could do that, and then you could double up, right? Say you get 2 first rounds, but at the bottom at the first round, instead of making a impulsive you can talk yourself into saying we need to draft a corner. We need to do this and draft too high, and they aren't really that good. And this is where I think you can really make money if you look at 1 pick behind them in Denver with Luatu Lutu, who is the pass rusher extraordinaire from UCLA. Depends on the day that you talk to me. I will say one day is Dallas Turner the best pass rusher. Then I will say him. This dude is a dude. I mean, he is a full-fledged wrecking ball. I mean, he takes over games. Stupid athletic ability, long, 6'4", 6'5", crazy get off, crazy moves, strong at the point of attack. So he's a 2-way player. That's a dude that I would say, you know what, I'm going to take him, because if I can get Danielle Hunter in for a year or 2 and he can learn from him, he's a guy that gives you position flexibility, can drop into coverage, rush the passer, move him around, right? Kind of like your own version of TJ Watt, and really let him unleash havoc. That's a guy that you'd pick in this top 12, because I feel like top 12, that's kind of like the lottery for the NBA. Then you got the Raiders here. This is another thing. The Raiders and the Vikings. Stop drafting corners. Okay? Don't do it. Even though Terrion Arnold is a good player, you can get Terrion Arnold a little bit later in the draft. New Orleans Saints. You got Olave, right? You got Derek Carr. You drafted the first round guy from Northern Iowa that was kind of the dirty player, Penning. He got benched because he was garbage. Do you move him to guard, Or what do you do?
He's 6'7".
Yeah.
I don't think he can play interior.
Well, I don't think he can, but he's struggling. Do you move him to right tackle? Right? You feel like if you get the right O-line coach, you can do some things.
Mm-hmm.
But you don't need to draft another receiver. I don't care if he's from LSU. You need to either address the line or the defensive end, because Cam Jordan's getting a little bit older, or the safety position or somewhere, not another receiver. Because you still are going to question is could you bring back Mike Thomas for like a prove it year deal, right?
Mm-hmm.
Could you do it? Or are you going to let him go? Nobody's going to get it. He's not going to demand any money.
He's not going to get what Hopkins did.
Right. Or do you say, do we trade out of the first round or trade down, pick someone in a position that we really, really need, and try to get a draft pick high in the second round if there's a running back that you really like, kind of like a Gibbs? Because Kamara, considering his off-season trouble and off-the-field stuff, you got to question his focus, right?
Sure.
And how much can he be the running back one? Because Alvin Kamara has to show you something early in this offseason. That means he needs to be in New Orleans pretty much getting back his cool points to establish himself. He didn't look the same. He didn't look explosive. He wasn't a matchup problem. He obviously has a lot of stuff going on, rightfully so. Some of his own doing and some of it is not. But at the end of the day, you're getting paid to play football, not to beat up people in the casino. So you need to have that guy, because Derek Carr needs him in order to be successful, because you've already went all in with Derek Carr. You're not going to get rid of him. Keep him. He actually played well at times. He needs some help, even though he has Chris Olave.
The defense for the Saints is getting old. With Dennis Allen, coming from the defensive coordinator position to taking over at head coach, I wouldn't be shocked to see them trade out of it. But was it Pete Carmichael that was their OC?
They finally fired him. He's been there for like 19 years.
Yeah,
right?
The entirety of the Peyton tenure.
Yeah.
I wonder if the new OC, maybe they've named him. I'm blanking if they have, but maybe they're like, okay, you're a new OC. We'll get you a shiny toy to play with.
Yeah.
Instead of shoring up an older defense that needs a little bit of that.
Needs a little bit of little bit of youth, legitimate guys. I think the linebacker Davis is good. Cam Jordan's still good, but looks a little bit older. His first year I seen him, wasn't able to finish strong. Now, granted, they weren't up a lot, but he didn't look like Cam Jordan. Took him a little bit longer than I thought to initially get his first sack. That's where I usually judge him. How quick can you get off? Got some text here before we go to break and do some more of this mock draft. Let's see. We got Phil says, I don't understand anyone who is aboard the Joe Burrow hype train but questions Jaden Daniels. I do understand that. Two different quarterbacks. But you got to think he performed pretty dang good, and I think they're both going to be excellent. I think Jaden Daniels probably is a little bit less injury prone, right?
Despite the big hits.
Despite the big hits. He must got like pliability in his muscle. Yeah. So I just think with Jaden Daniels, probably just needs to get in there with the right system and stuff like that, which is same with Joe Burrow. You got to draft well around him and you're going to have the same results, with him. I think he's an excellent leader as well. I think his, whatever it is down at LSU, you have a decent junior year or the year before you go, and you really kick butt the last year that you're there, and it works out well for you. So I'm right in there with you, Phil. Unknown texter asked about Troy Franklin. He quietly had just as good a season as Aduzze and Marvin Harrison Jr. I'm agreeing with you. I'm a big Adunze and Harrison Jr. fans. They're two different types. I mean, Harrison Jr. I think is like a day one Pro Bowler, going to come in and dominate. He's actually, going to probably really raise his game up because he's going to be able to get more favorable matchups. And so I think Aduzze over the last 2 years gives you a little bit more of take your top off of the defense, but then also can be physical, run after the catch. Can run a different route trees, right? He had a big drop against Michigan. That was a game-changing thing, ran the wrong route or whatever. But I think, all these guys are going to be good. And then Oprah Winfrey says Penix to the Vikings. I can see that. And it would be like a kind of a red shirt thing. I think Michael Penix, man, has shown you that he can be, when he's accurate short, medium, and deep. So we're going to take a quick break. We'll go 15 through 32. We have a little pivot here because I think my favorite, not my favorite, but one of my favorite prospects is coming up here in the next 3 picks. And he's a receiver, or actually two of my favorite is a cornerback from the hated Iowa Hawkeyes and a receiver from Florida State. So quick break, Jay Foreman, Austin Orman, Old School will be right back.
Watch Old School live on Facebook, YouTube, or Twitch. Old School with DP and J on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Action Plumbing, Heating, Air, and Electric brings exciting career opportunities for you or someone you know. They are now hiring plumbers, electricians, and HVAC techs and installers to continually build their professional team. They offer competitive pay and full benefits packages that include health, dental, vision, PTO, and 401k options. Action has created a positive team environment for over 50 years. Apply online at actionlincoln.com.
Letting your children know you believe in them will go a long way toward making their dreams a reality. I'm Jenny Benson, president of the Nebraska State Education Association. It's important to celebrate learning. Focus on the positives, reinforce good effort and determination. Children need your encouragement and support. Our public schools want every student to succeed.
Sponsored by the Nebraska State Education Association, aired by the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
Sports Show!
Coming up in Lincoln, February 2nd through 4th at the Sandhills Global Event Center, it's the family show of all outdoors. The 55th Annual Boat, Sport, and Travel Show. With RVs, motorhomes, boats, trailers, discount tackle, and family fun for everyone. Interact with exotic animals at wildlife encounters and appearances by Husker football players. Veterans free on Friday, lots of free parking. Doors open at noon on Friday, 10 a.m. Saturday and Sunday. See you there!
Sports Show!
Okay, it's time to sell the house. How do we even begin to choose from the hundreds of realtors in town?
Easy. We make a pros list.
You mean a pros and cons list?
No, just a pros list. We need someone with pro photography to showcase the house in the best possible way, pro marketing to make sure we get maximum exposure, pro negotiations so we know we get the best price.
This is one of those times where you already know the right answer, isn't it?
You know it is. Ben Bleicher and Professional Realty Group.
Contact Ben Bleicher and the team at Professional Realty Group of Berkshire Hathaway's Home Services Ambassador. Online at prg-ne.com.
Load up on meat and more this winter at the Mercado by Certified Piedmontese at 84th and Havelock. This week's special through January 30th is $2 off steakhouse burgers and buy one Urban Slicer Pizza Works dough, get an Urban Slicer Pizza Works pizza sauce for free. Don't forget their two new locations now open at 30th and Yankee Hill in Lincoln and 168th and Maple in Omaha. Get to the Mercado today for the best meat in town.
Be a memory for your grandchildren. Among Nebraska adults age 65 or older, 47% report current alcohol use. Drinking too much can cause harm to children, family members, and loved ones. By drinking less, you will still be around for your grandchildren. If you or a loved one is looking for help, find a treatment facility near you at findtreatment.gov. For immediate support, call, text, or chat 988.
Brought to you by Nebraska DHHS in partnership with SAMHSA.
The captain, Vershawn Jackson.
Dylan Riola, the doctor, the Polynesian Bowl. He had a lot of throws. He made a couple nice throws. He threw outs. He threw a deep dig. He threw a slant that went to the house. There were so many different passes that we saw him. And he's got a little quick twitch. Is he fast? No. Quick twitch? Yes. It was good to see him moving around. Listen, he connected with, guess who?
Carter Nelson.
Thank you. We got a chance to see Carter twice. It was good for me to watch that because I think that's a precursor of what's the
Landmark Implement, your local John Deere dealer, is hosting their annual sprayer clinic at the Buffalo County Fairgrounds in Kearney, Nebraska, January 31st through February 1st. Landmark Sprayer Clinic offers expansive equipment and technology training on John Deere and Hagee sprayers. Learn about the newest technology, machine maintenance, spray tip selection, exact apply sprayers, and more. Free dicamba certification will be available. Join Landmark at their sprayer clinic January 31st and February 1st in Kearney. Find more information at landmarkimp.com/events.
Shopping for new flooring is different today. Getting your questions answered, making the right selection, getting the best value, and installed quickly and professionally. Visit ostreetcarpet.com or shop our store. We'll answer all your questions and help you make the right choice. You'll be enjoying your new floor in just days for less than you'd pay elsewhere. Carpet, vinyl, wood, laminate, tile, and area rugs. We've got it all.
O Street Carpet.
1732 O Street. Family owned and operated. Always the best value.
Back to Old School with DP and J on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Austin Orman, Jay Foreman, Old School. We are back, second segment, middle of the 5 o'clock hour, 5:34, 1040 O Street. We're watching jammed up here, seeing the dudes over there. They looking their own way. Yeah. We see you play. Wait, man, hey, that fro was popping. Anyways, we're talking about the Mel Kiper first NFL mock draft. We got down to, I think, number 15 to your Colts.
Here we are.
Here you are. You already got Pittman, right? Who I think is
going to free agency.
Yeah, but I think he's a next level player. This is the whole thing. Do we invest in a new, or do we reinvest in what we know?
Mm-hmm.
And it's a huge deal. It is, because you can't say Pittman hasn't been productive. Multiple quarterbacks through there. I think Gardner Minshew kind of tailed off a little bit, but still, he was nevertheless. I felt like he established himself at least in the conversation of being a number one. But Mel Kiper has them taking the dude that looks like a genetic freak in Keon Coleman. And when you see when they show his dunks and stuff like that, and he runs a 4.4 40 at 6'4", 215 pounds. Do you like that pick for your Colts?
Dare I say Calvin Johnson?
He looks like it.
I get shades of it.
He looks like it.
I don't think he would be that good. There were some red flags in terms of his contested catch percentage.
Yeah.
In college. Here's the thing. Dude's a baller.
Yeah.
I really want the Colts to bring Michael Pittman Jr. back. I'm a big fan of 11, who I think is like, I don't know, 75, 80% of Mike Evans, almost bigger body possession guy,
right.
Good red zone threat.
A little bit more shake and bake.
A little bit more, yeah.
I mean, look, he was a volume receiver this year, 110 receptions.
Over 1,000.
1,152 yards. You'd like to get him in the end zone, but that's a little bit harder when you have multiple quarterbacks and systems being played.
Right. I think Coleman can stretch the field a little bit. I know that's what Alec Pierce is there for, and I don't know what's happening with him, but I really like Josh Downs. So if you can have two of those guys on the outside to give Downs even more space over the middle, I'm on board with that. I am. I
like it too.
I think I'm on board with it even more because I'm back to trusting the offensive line.
There you go.
If the offensive line
took a step in the right direction.
They did. If the offensive line would have sucked again, I would have said take an offensive lineman. I don't really care what position, but they reestablished some value in my mind.
And the only problem is there's not a lot of guys worth drafting at 15.
Yeah.
Seattle Seahawks, they obviously are in the need of a quarterback, according to Mel Kiper. At 16, they take J.J. McCarthy. I think but I think it's a great pick for him because he kind of has Geno Smith type of, he's a bigger version that hasn't had a lot of pass attempts. You got to trust J.J. McCarthy because he played for Jim Harbaugh. Jim Harbaugh is a quarterback whisperer, so I feel like it's a good pick. I'm not really totally sold on him and what he's going to do, but I think he's a first round pick. I think I don't think you're overextending yourself drafting him. I think it's a great spot for him, which then I think if you draft him at 16, it'll be a great spot and a great pick for Seattle, considering who they have, Jackson Smith and Jigba, and you got Metcalf, and then who knows if Lockett wants to come back for his 25th year and still be productive. And you got running backs galore. You guys, Kenneth Walker III. So you already invested in your offensive line. I think for J.J. McCarthy, of course you want to go number one, but if I could go to Seattle with what they've already done, along with a new coach picking me, right? Because they still haven't picked their coach. That's going to give you longevity. So you're walking in the front door with the coach, arm in arm. So I think that's a good pick. I think he'll do well. Then now, I was fortunate enough to meet him at the Big Ten Media Days. Stupid athlete. First time I ever saw him was actually at an AAU tournament. Like, who is this dude from Iowa? Podunk, Iowa. I don't even know where he's from. Cooper DeJean is a guy that is next level talent. Listen, you talk about Jason Sehorn being the last white cornerback. He's gonna come in and play corner. Riley Moss did it right before him. Riley Moss was thought of as a really good athlete. This dude is 2 times better as an athlete, a playmaker extraordinaire. Gives you home run ability, kickoff and punt return ability as well. You saw it against Minnesota, even though it already should have been the ball down. But you see, when the lights are the brightest, he usually shines up well. We saw it firsthand after he got hurt last year. Nebraska took advantage of it. And Trey Palmer started to feast on anybody and everybody. So, I think this is a great pick for Jacksonville. I think it helps them, brings a winning mindset as well, and also it helps you in the return game.
How's Cooper DeJean fitting down in Jacksonville? Is he liking the city?
Oh, you ever been there?
I've not.
I'm going to say this. Hey, any of these Texans, if you're from Jacksonville, I apologize. That's horrible down there. That place is garbage. It is crazy because you got like TP Sawgrass down there. I'd hate to live down there. Now, granted, you don't have to pay any state income tax, but dang,
is it really worth it?
I'd rather be playing over there in Europe. Hey, I tell Shot, like, dude, hey, I like being over here. You know what I'm saying? Cincinnati Bengals again. J.C. Latham from Alabama. Keep drafting offensive linemen until you get somebody to protect Joe Burrow.
Was Latham the one that got blown up on that last play?
Probably.
I'm pretty sure that was him.
Yeah. Yeah, but he started 27 games. He's a mauler. I think it'll help if they, bring back Joe. This is a dude right here who I think for the Rams to get him with Aaron Donald and the guy that they drafted this year, if they get
O'Shawn.
Yeah, and O'Shawn. Yeah, because Rams had two rookie defensive linemen, Byron Young, who had 8 sacks, and Kobe Turner, who had 9. Go with Aaron Donald. Get this dude at 6'4", 253, athletic enough to play outside linebacker as well. So remember when number 97 got beat by Detroit? This guy can actually cover, but this dude can rush the passer. Jared Verse, who burst on the scene when he was at Florida State 2 years ago against LSU and essentially wreaked havoc on Brian Kelly in that first game of the year. So I think that's a great value pick for the Los Angeles Rams. Next is Pittsburgh Steelers, right? This is interesting. They picked Joey Porter Jr. last year, a top pick of the round 2, so essentially a first-round pick. They come back again this year and say Kamari Lassiter from Georgia. Kwame Lassiter's dad unfortunately passed away, I think. Come from good stock and all that stuff. I'm not sure if they stay at 20, I could see them drafting him. I'd like to see them either take a defensive line or eventual replacement for Cam Hayward because he's, probably got a year or 2 left. I'd like interior defensive lineman right here, but you can never go wrong, especially in this day and age of getting young corners, and then you got your 2 corners for the future.
Well, think about who you're going up against. You have Joe Burrow in that division. You have Zay Flowers and Lamar Jackson in that division, and Amari Cooper.
Yeah, Amari Cooper and Cleveland's whole passing attack.
So
you got to be. Yeah, you're right. You got to be able to do it, but
it's a rough and tumble division. Like it's always going to be a black and blue offensive line based division. But I could at least see the argument for a guy like Lassiter.
Yeah, and it's a great number to pick him at. Next, the Dolphins, Jake Sorensen's crew. They need an interior guard. Troy Fuutano, who is an athletic guard. If you saw him in the national championship game, he's pretty athletic. He played left tackle, but he projects to be a guard. A little bit short arms, but very, very explosive. Only allowed 2 sacks throughout his whole career. Had almost 1,300 snaps, so that's a pretty consistent player considering who he's went up against. But he's a physical dude too, so that brings a little bit of edge there, and he can get out and run and do the things that Mike McDaniel likes to do. That's a perfect fit right there. Then you got the Philadelphia Eagles trying to replenish. You just never know. Well, Jason Kelsey's probably gone. Lane Johnson turns 34 in May. They're taking the big. A lot of people probably haven't seen this dude from Oregon State. I don't know how they got this dude. I don't know what or what he looked like coming out of high school for not everybody to want him. Talise Fuaga, right, is a mauler, and so if he can get in, be a replacement for Lane Johnson, play next to Cam Jurgens, or if Cam Jurgens goes into center, you can move this guy into guard and eventually move out to tackle. So I think
he's a 3-star. He was 6'5", 320 coming out of high school.
And he looks about that right now, but he just looks a lot better. Stupid athlete. Then my Houston Texans, Jazon Newton, big defense tackle we saw up there from Illinois, who's probably at the end of the day when draft starts, he'll be gone by 23. If you get him at 23 to go with Malik Collins, you got the old dog right there that could teach you. The young guy coming in. Newton is a interior pass rush threat, plays the run really well. He actually gives you flexibility to where you can actually go out and play a 5 technique as well. So you can do different things with him. Definitely a great pick. Then you got your boys, the Dallas Cowboys, who's going to pick Joe Morgan, another. Pac-12 had great offensive linemen this year. Offensive tackle from Arizona fits in well, right? Tyron Smith, who's still good, injury prone. Zach Martin is 33, but Smith is a free agent. You can bring him back. You got Tyler Smith, who's really good. you kind of replenishing and giving Dak Prescott a chance to, get him over the edge. And then Green Bay Packers goes offensive lineman with Kingsley. I mean, these names right here just killing me.
You got all the Polynesians in the first round. They're unfair to you.
I'm not going to try that one as a tackle from BYU.
Suamataya, maybe?
Yeah, Suamataya. He big offensive lineman. They've been trying to bring back Dave Bakhtiari. He just keeps getting injured. He only played 25 games over the last 4 seasons over, knee issues. You got to just cut bait right there, even though when he's healthy, he's one of the best right tackles. And then now Tampa Bay again, they go to defensive end. I don't think they'll do this. They went interior pass rusher. I think they have good pass rushers on the outside. Their rookie led all rookies in sacks. I forget his name. With Mike Evans, Levante David, and Devin White and Antoine Winfield Jr. all being free agents. I think they address one of those positions, receiver, linebacker, or playmaking safety. Antoine Winfield will be back. They have to make a decision between Levante and Devin White. I probably think Levante. I think
was it Cansey?
Yes. Cansey was their first round pick last year, but I think they go and get receiver if they can. If not, they go and just get the best guy available. I'm not sure if it's Chop Robinson, but if he does get picked, great up to him. Arizona Cardinals, offensive line for Pocket Hercules and Marvin Harrison Jr. They drafted Paris Johnson last year, who was good from Ohio State. Tyler Guyton from Oklahoma. I think you could still get the somebody like that in the second round, the second day. But he has such good physical tools. Sometimes people get in there everyone because he's a get off the bus first guy. Buffalo Bills receiver from Texas, Mitchell. Stephon Diggs, who knows? He really didn't. Gabe Davis is a free agent. Big game Gabe. Mitchell's 6'4", so fits right in there. Gives you a chance to stretch the top. I think they go interior defensive line to go with what they got right now. They got destroyed this year at times, or linebacker if they can. Receiver, I feel like you can get Mitchell and all that because look, here comes Troy Franklin from Oregon. The Chiefs. I doubt the Chiefs picked him. They already picked the second round of Rashee Rice. I think the Chiefs roll the dice that these guys get better. I think they try to get a receiver in the second, possibly third round, and hit a jackpot with them, kind of like what they did with Tyreek, obviously with less off the field issues.
So if you're the Chiefs, do you go offensive line again?
I go offensive line or interior defensive line. Chris Jones still needs to be up, and I think partner a young guy with Chris Jones if you sign him to a big deal. I think in the future is bright because George Karlaftis, and plus they have multiple guys on the outside opposite. They do well. Detroit, Quentin Mitchell, cornerback from Toledo. I think that's good because I think, as we saw, Detroit's cornerbacks were a little lacking. Safety with Branch and Johnson that they got from Philly. I think the safety is pretty good. So I think that's a good pick. Then you got Baltimore Ravens taking Enos Rackshaw Jr., cornerback from Missouri. Has some Nebraska ties. Real good friends with Jamari Butler. Yeah.
Jamari had to hit that recruiting trail harder.
Well, they were trying to hit it on him. He almost went there. So he's back. So I think that's a good pick for Baltimore. And then on the 49ers, they take my man Amarius Mims from Georgia. Pretty good year for offensive line. They're trying to get 49ers want to bring in. You got Trent Williams. You see how big this dude is? They want to have Trent Williams at the left tackle. Now, their right tackle is an issue. This dude's 6'7", 340 pounds. You just want to just have the big Debo. So that's what they want to do. He's got great athletic ability. Hasn't allowed a sack ever in college. He's going to get a ton of work, in practice again, going against Bosa and Chase Young and all those guys. Rookie contract. Colton McKevitz has allowed 12 sacks in the regular season. That's a problem. Oof. That's a sack a game. So, anyways, that's the Mel Kiper rundown. We'll take a quick break, and then me and Austin will think about what do we do with the Lakers and the Warriors. Do we send them out the pasture? Do we trade one or a couple big stars to kind of push a soft reset, or do you just let it play out like it needs to be, and then you do the what's the commonly known in the offseason and have a mutual breakup? So Jay Foreman, Austin Norman, Old School. We'll be right back.
You're listening to Old School with DP and J. Download the mobile app and listen wherever you are on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Landmark Implement, your local John Deere dealer, is hosting their annual sprayer clinic at the Buffalo County Fairgrounds in Kearney, Nebraska, January 31st through February 1st. Landmark Sprayer Clinic offers expansive equipment and technology training on John Deere and Hagie sprayers. Learn about the newest technology, machine maintenance, spray tip selection, exact apply sprayers, and more. Free dicamba certification will be available. Join Landmark at their sprayer clinic January 31st and February 1st in Kearney. Find more information at landmarkimp.com/events.
89-cent wings are back on Tuesdays at Buffalo Wings and Rings in Lincoln. Enjoy the best wings in town for boneless or traditional at a price that makes the whole family happy. And now at the Williamsburg Village Wings and Rings, you can enjoy $1.50 tall boys in Bud Light, Coors Light, Busch Light, and Michelob Ultra every day after 7 p.m. and all day on Sundays. Get to Wings and Rings today and make sure to stop by on Tuesdays for 89-cent wings.
Problem gambling is not just a financial issue. It's an emotional problem with financial consequences. If your loved one is struggling with addiction, contact Choices Treatment Center's 24-hour helpline at 402-476-2300. That's 402-476-2300.
Shopping for new flooring is different today. Getting your questions answered, making the right selection, getting the best value, and installed quickly and professionally. Visit ostreetcarpet.com or shop our store. We'll answer all your questions and help you make the right choice. You'll be enjoying your new floor at just days for less than you'd pay elsewhere. Carpet, vinyl, wood, laminate, tile, and area rugs. We've got it all.
O Street Carpet.
1732 O Street. Family owned and operated. Always the best value.
Hi, everyone. Kendall Warnock, A1 Automotive in downtown Lincoln. The last few years have been wild, but we've been here for you through all the ups and downs, and we'll be here for you when you need us the most. For all your travels and for your day-to-day driving. With winter conditions causing problems all over town, the last thing anyone needs this year is constant car troubles. Let us help you drive in peace and make sure you drive to work and to winter destinations safe. A1 Automotive, 11th and L Street downtown, always honest answers.
Husker fans, your Nebraska wrestling team is back at the Bob Devaney Sports Center for a Big Ten matchup on Sunday, February 4th against Illinois. The duel begins at 2 p.m., and the first 350 fans will receive a Nebraska wrestling pennant. For more information or to secure your tickets, visit huskers.com/tickets or call 402-472-3111. Again, that's huskers.com/tickets or call 402-472-3111.
When you were a kid, clubs were cool. Robotics club and space club and stuff like that. But what do adults get? Book clubs and quilting clubs? Nah, forget that. How about margarita clubs and old-fashioned clubs? Get to Upside Bar and Lounge for the best clubs in town. Try all 10 varieties of Upside margaritas or old fashions and take home a free souvenir glass. Grab the whole crew and pair it with taco night on Mondays or whiskey Wednesdays. Upside Bar and Lounge at 29th and Pine Lake.
Letting your children know you believe in them will go a long way toward making their dreams a reality. I'm Jenny Benson, president of the Nebraska State Education Association. It's important to celebrate learning. Focus on the positives, reinforce good effort and determination. Children need your encouragement and support. Our public schools want every student to succeed.
Sponsored by the Nebraska State Education Association, aired by the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
John Henry's would like to remind you, if you haven't already, to unhook your outdoor hoses and check faucets for leaks so your pipes don't freeze. As the official plumber of the Huskers, you know who to call when a plumbing issue arises. From frozen pipes to clogged drains, we can help you protect your home this winter. Give John Henry's a call today to schedule at
435-5555. John Henry's Plumbing. Heating and air.
Back to old school with DP and J on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Quick segment, Jay Foreman, Austin Norman. I guess we got to be the bearer of bad news, what we got to do for the Lakers and the Warriors. I think for the Warriors, I think it's like you got to trade one of probably Draymond, right? I mean, you got, and I would do a solid by Draymond. I would say, look, where do you want to go? I would do that. Probably wants to go to the Lakers, right? Big market, play with LeBron, play a couple more years, probably bring some life into that organization, maybe free up Anthony Davis a little bit. I would do that. I would probably Draymond's the easier one. Then I would go to Clay and say, okay, well, what do you want to do? Where do you want to go? Because then you could, and maybe CP3 as well. I think CP3 will get traded, kind of sign and trade, never plays there, and he'll end up being a, playoff addition.
Yeah.
And then he'll end up going somewhere and starting. I think it'd be great. I think, I think you can offload a lot of salary cap. I think you could have a amicable, breakup, and then keep the legacy going. Steph Curry ain't going nowhere.
No.
You're starting to see some life out of Wiggins. You like Kuminga.
Moody plays a role.
Podziemski's
fun.
Yes.
Looney. Trace Jackson Davis.
Right. Trace Jackson Davis was a great second-round pick. Gives you that physical presence. So I think that's what the Golden State needs to do. And who knows, you can go on a run. And I'd probably keep Klay to the offseason. Draymond, I think I would trade right now. I think that'd be too much.
Do you offer Steve Kerr another contract? Or you go a different direction?
That's up to him. You got it in you for 4 more years? We're running it back. If not, do you want to go start back to the booth? So
right.
You let me know. And then as far as the Lakers go, I think they need to make a big trade or a trade.
Mm-hmm.
I like the team, but I don't like how they're playing. I know they got Rui last year.
He hasn't found a consistent role at all.
He was great last year.
Mm-hmm.
I saw a couple did not play, healthy scratches.
Mm-hmm.
That's a dude you can move because I think at 6'10", ability to shoot the three, guard 1 through 4, 1 through 5. They don't use him enough. Vanderbilt, I think he needs to be on the bench, and then I think I would be starting Rui. I'm trying to go with some more explosiveness. I think that you could spread the floor a little bit more and allow Anthony Davis to feast, right?
Mm-hmm.
And because my whole thing is with the Lakers, and I think D'Angelo Russell's starting to come along, but I don't know if I trust him to finish the season like he's playing right now. I think he's playing this way right now to showcase himself, but then also knows that he needs to play better basketball. If he gets it past the trade deadline, I think he goes back to the original, and I like D'Angelo Russell. They need like a CP3 facilitator, put Anthony Davis in the best spots to be effective immediately. We're coming out the gates and knowing that we're going to go through Anthony Davis. LeBron's the finisher.
Isn't that what Gabe Vincent was supposed to be?
Yeah, but he's been hurt. Yeah.
Can you get Chris Paul and DeJounte Murray? Do you have enough to go get that?
So. You get DeJounte Murray. Lake Show. Hey, you get DeJounte Murray. It's on.
And popping.
Yeah, but you're gonna have to get rid of like multiple guys, and that's fine because I think you got Scottie Pippen Jr. can come in there and play a little, budget. You'll be budget cutting, and you can sign a couple guys 10-day contracts and prorated deals. They're gonna have to do something. Rob Pelinka, you better do something, man. Time's ticking. LeBron ain't happy. AD ain't happy.
Neither of those two teams you mentioned are going to tank. They're not. No. They're not going to pack it in and say, "Oh, sorry, we'll try again with our next core." Like you have Steph Curry. If you're Golden State, you cannot afford to waste any years.
No.
And here's the thing: that's tough for a young GM in Dunleavy.
Yeah.
Who I think Bob Myers walked away at the perfect time. I'm sure he thought Mike Dunleavy was ready, but welcome to the league.
Yeah.
Young man. And then if you're the Lakers, you're the Lakers.
Yeah.
You shouldn't be outside the top 4
ever
for any
top
reason.
Top 6 at worst.
You got LeBron, you got AD. Okay, now go flex your Laker muscle. Prove you're the Lakers.
Yeah, do something. You already made mistakes letting Caruso go back. Reeves, I think, needs to find a little bit more of his role that got him that $85 million contract.
Did his ego get too big too quick?
I think it was too much too quick. And but I think he's starting to come out of it some. You start to see him
a little bit.
Yeah, he's lost his edge a little bit. So I mean that's natural, but he needs to be checked a little bit. LeBron needs to get in his ear, and they need to make a trade. And it might have to be a 3 or 4 team trade to kind of salary cap ramifications, luxury tax, or whatever you call it. But anyways, fast 2 hours. We appreciate you guys texting in. We'll be back tomorrow, Wednesday, Hump Day. DP will be back telling us about his trip down to Florida with WWF and what's coming up in the future. So for Austin Orman, I'm Jay Foreman. We are Old School. We'll holler at you tomorrow.